Good morning, everybody. We've got it all sorted. Waters Above is here to let you guys know what's going on in the Matrix today. Thank you for everybody for being so patient. It's gonna be a great talk, and I really look forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for a while. Happy member of your Patreon, Waters. Could you tell us what do you think is happening right now? We got FedNow launched. We got FOMC meeting this week. All kinds of crazy shit happening for August.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me back on. I appreciate you. Hope you're doing amazing. And shout out to your audience, because I know that the first interview we did got a lot of attention back during the Shemitah. So we've had some time lapse since then, and it's great that we've reconnected. And you're right. We're kind of in this crucial moment right now where there's a lot of stuff going down. You know, I think what just happened with the SEC Ripple case, that little update kind of brought a little bit more excitement to crypto again, regardless of the prices. Mm-hmm. And I think that right now we're watching so many things change, not just things regarding crypto, like just the whole technology sector in and of itself. And I think today Twitter officially updated to x.com. So they're moving forward with that project. I believe that there's a lot going on there with regarding the crypto conversations that are happening. Like, it seems to be a big platform for anyone who's involved in crypto, whether it's the Hex community, XRP, whatever. So yeah, from a social media perspective, when that starts to change, then that's going to affect everything else, right? So absolutely. I don't even know where to get started. You know, I think there's an abundance of new between right now and our last conversation. So we kind of
let's start with this. It's a lot of our people our followers, you and I particularly, are into the whole, like, Shemitah was how I met you, and that's how, you know, I got to follow you and learn about your understanding of how everything works. And we're wrapping up a Jubilee year, and I think this one might go out with a bang. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, a lot of people don't believe that this is the Jubilee year, because a lot of rabbi and a lot of Rebbe and people that are actually practicing Judaism, they were told that the Jubilee was 2017. And that's kind of confusing. You know, it's kind of confusing if you look at it from that perspective, you know. So back in 2014, 2015, we had a Shemitah, and into 2016, ending in 2017, that was what they believed was the Jubilee year. And I disagree. I think that it was this 2023. And I have so much information to prove that. So I think that going back to the 1970s during the Nixon shock and the 1973 to 1975 recession with hyperinflation and all of that, it's kind of the cornerstone of most of the content that I've been putting out for the past year. And with what we saw happen with Silicon Valley Bank in March, and Silvergate, and everything else that's kind of went down in crypto since. And also you look at what happened with the Ripple case. That update is huge. The fact that happened in a Jubilee year, people had no idea like when that update would come, you know, and it just so happens to be perfectly situated at that time. And, you know, I think that you're right. I believe that we're going to end this Jubilee with a bang. That's around September 15th, 16th, and 17th. Yeah. And that 3-day window, I'm not entirely sure if we'll have something happen on that exact 3-day window, because they tend to celebrate it. You know what I mean? It's really before Rosh Hashanah or right after it that they do some event. And I'm more leaning towards there being a ritual between September 11th timeframe all the way until October 14th. So that whole month window is going to be, yeah.
Bummer. I just wanted to I wanted to put it behind me by the 17th of September.
Yeah, no, the reason why I could extend out is based on prior data. Like, I've seen enough data to show me that, well, let's just study stock market crashes, right? Most of them tend to be in October. And most of the time, Rosh Hashanah is in September. Not all the time, but we have had some Rosh Hashanah like October 1st, 2nd, that like really early. But yeah, for the most part, Hebrew New Year is celebrated in September, being their 7th month. And we get some of the most historic market crashes in October. So we can't go against the data, you know, even though we're using this more esoteric stuff. You can't go against the data. And is there an FOMC meeting coming in September 25th,
Yes.
26th, I believe? So there you go, man.
We have two more between now and then. I mean, we got the one this week.
Yeah.
Then we have the
tomorrow.
September.
Yeah, 100%. So I think the one tomorrow is kind of pivotal. Like it should be very pivotal. And we look at the stock market right now and it's so overheated. You know, it really is. And I shared a couple scenarios in the last podcast that I put out over on Patreon, kind of giving people a feeling about where I stand on this stock market and how that could affect crypto. And, you know, it's actually pretty rough right now if you're looking at a lot of the altcoins, like how low they are, how smashed and beaten down they are. And this aligns perfectly with my theory that by September, October, when we get the event, we're going to watch a washout. I think we might have an actual zeroing out effect of a lot of these useless shitcoins and the memery that infests this market. It needs to kind of go away in order for it to become more sophisticated. And when I say it, I mean blockchain as a conversation and cryptocurrency. There's just way too much memery out there, and a lot of it has to drain away.
Yeah, for sure. It's been going that way for a long time. I mean, I remember back in 2016, it was much simpler market, and now it's just so overbloated. It's similar to the stock market.
Yeah, it's a great way of putting it. It's bloated.
Yeah,
it needs a detox.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it was Thursday or Friday. FedNow actually went live. You had a
allegedly.
Allegedly. You had a great decode. If you guys haven't watched it, about FedNow launching and all that, I recommend everybody watch it. This is going to be super important. I was disappointed the other day when Richard Hart, the founder of Hex, he tweeted about FedNow, saying how this is actually a good thing for the markets and it eases, transactions between companies and business to business and all those kind of and settlement layers and all that. Yeah, I get that, but it also makes it easier for us to be enslaved. So I can't really support something that does that. I'd rather have a little bit of complexity in the financial system in order to keep us free, rather than make it super easy to allow them to enslave us. So I'm not 100% skeptical of FedNow. I understand why they're doing it, and both the good side and the bad side. But I just don't want it. I just don't want the social credit score. I don't want all these things that come with it. It makes me nervous. What do you think?
Well, I'm lucky that I've gotten in contact with some people that work in fintech in the US and around the world. And they've pretty much told me what I've been saying for a while now. It's that they don't really have the technology to just go forward with this whole concept in the United States and Canada and Australia. They don't actually have the full-blown infrastructure just yet to like go live instantly. They're pretty backdated. Like if you think of the way the IRS operates and like, I mean, bro, like remember during C-19 when they started getting all the unemployment stuff showing up and they couldn't keep up with it. It's like their computers and the software that they have and everything that's going on, they just couldn't. Like it was not as advanced as people might think. So I've been telling people for the United States, don't expect anything like a social credit score, that kind of China vibe. Don't expect that until probably minimum 2029 minimum. And that is in alignment with the next Shemitah, which I believe that's going to be the banger. Like that's really going to be the ruthless one. But I don't, that's a little too far away to even talk about at this time. We want to focus on the now. And yeah, I agree with you though. Anyone who supports FedNow and anyone who supports anything that the Federal Reserve is doing they're a leech. Like they're literally a leech. It's a blood-sucking organization that just creates money out of thin air. It's not backed by anything, similar to crypto. It's just backed by belief and speculation. So that's another thing to discuss is like so many people think crypto is a better solution to like this antiquated financial system. And guess what? Like it's no different. It's all belief.
Yeah, the thing I love about crypto is that it is private. I'm a big believer in private, doing our things ourselves, transacting between ourselves, and as long as it's voluntary. I like voluntary stuff. So I don't know how much you know about me, but I'm definitely an anarcho-capitalist. So I love being able to do things because I want to, not because I'm told to or forced to. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's where we align for sure. And I think that when I design my investment thesis and when I'm looking at life the way that I do, just holistically, I create a lifestyle, or I create a schedule, or I create a business model, or whatever it is that pretty much revolves around my sovereignty. If anything holds me back in any regard, whether it's a government or it's a local whatever, I don't care. Like, you can't cage a wolf, you could try, but it's going to get loose sometime. And once it's loose,
Absolutely.
it's like, that's kind of the way you got to move in this world.
Well, I think they have that error part where they allow so many wolves. They're like, that not as long as 95% are under their jurisdiction, they control us,
Yeah.
they're happy. Then the other 5%, just let them roll. Let them think they're
100%.
free.
100%. You don't know how many people I've talked to that just haven't paid their taxes for like 10 years. Like, it's not like it's not even that they've been studying how to get around it. It's like they just haven't been fucking paying it.
Or filed,
And
or even filed.
yeah, or even filed. Like, so yeah, it's pretty interesting system, like how much is unaccounted for, and they don't care. Like, as long as 10% of the population behaves and is obedient, that's more than enough. It's
Oh, yeah.
fruitful to them. I mean, this organization prints money out of thin air. Like, they literally don't even need to take your tax dollars because they print money.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, whatever bullshit they come up with saying that, like, oh, pave the roads or do the street cleaning. No, that's make believe. Like, they just print money and then they put it in those accounts, and then it gets distributed, whatever local, government. And then their local treasurer does what they want to do. And it's just all, yeah, it's all belief. It's a really interesting thing because that's why we're transitioning right now. That's actually the purpose of it, is because not only is there a consciousness expansion on the retail level, like more people are becoming savvy of like what the fuck this economy actually is and how it's designed and the machinations of it. But simultaneously, you have this whole like people are like they're just done with watching their savings drain away because their dollars are losing value. And I'm not just speaking for the United States. I mean, look at the rest of the world. Like, look at any peso, whether it's Colombian, Argentinian, like you name it, it's in a free fall. Turkish lira, free fall. So you can't blame these people for being like, oh, Bitcoin sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
Right? Even if that was the only thing that it solved, was just that particular problem.
Well, then the IMF comes in and says, oh, here's a carrot. You can take a couple $1 billion, just borrow from us. And but you got to follow our rules going forward. Panama, I live in Panama, and they just took a big chunk of money last week from the IMF. I'm like, oh, here we go. Yeah. They do whatever they're told. I got a story for you. For those those in the audience who do not know, here in Panama is where Eric Voorhees started with my friend Ira Miller. They launched a company called Coinapult, and then Eric left and went and started his stuff in the U.S. But there was another gentleman here that was a good friend of Ira Miller, and most of you guys do not know this person. His name is Gabriel Abed, and Gabriel Abed, he is the guy who designed the whole idea of having a CBDC, and the first one was done in Barbados. And Ira, my friend Ira, was one of the coders that built the CBDC in Barbados. And now, guess what Ira's doing? He's on a farm in Boquete, Panama, totally disconnected from crypto, doing his own little thing. And he wants nothing to do with crypto ever again. He's up in the farm. But Gabriel is now traveling the world, teaching countries how to set up their CBDCs. And I never liked the guy. I never trusted him. I met him one time. He's out smoking a cigarette at a conference here in Panama. And I was like, hey, how are you doing? He's like, who are you? I'm like, who am I? I'm like, that's not the way you say hi to somebody, and here's a guy that's out there, trying to enslave the world through CBDC. And then the other guy that worked with him, Ira, is up in the mountains
Yeah.
feeling guilty farming.
Yeah, it's like
So,
Brad Pitt's character in that Big Short movie, like where he just like he gets a farm and
yeah.
starts doing his own
Yeah, that's
thing off the
exactly.
grid.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what Ira's doing. I think he feels guilty about what he's done, and he was also one of the guys who coded USDT back in the day.
Oh
So
wow,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. So he's been around a
So
while.
do you have the ability to share with us the specifics on that? When he was coding it, was he hired by somebody that was in government, or
No,
was
I
it
don't.
completely private?
I have no idea. Can't remember. I don't think I've
Okay,
ever talked to him specifically about his work on USDT.
yeah.
He was one of the coders on Dash.
Wait, did you say USDT or C?
T
Oh,
T.
wow. Okay, because I have a theory about Tether. Maybe you've heard it before, but it's really not sexy. People don't like me for sharing this thought, but we could get to that another time if you'd like. But needless
Oh,
to
go
say, it's
ahead.
pretty interesting to know that you know somebody who's involved in this.
Yes, yeah. And there's if you go online, there's stories about Ira Miller, about his association with USDT. And who was that guy that used to tweet all the time about USDT, saying how it was going to go bankrupt and stuff? There was a Twitter account that was really, really bearish on Twitter.
Hmm.
I can't remember
I
the
just I
name.
just got Twiir like the end of last
Oh,
year. Like
okay.
I'm
Well,
so yeah,
this
I'm
account
like a
was famous.
grandpa. Yeah.
Everyone knew this guy. He didn't have a face on his account, but he was just anti everything with USDT, and
Yeah.
he would call out IRA and stuff. So yeah, I I can't remember. I wish maybe it'll come to me, but I mean this is stuff we're talking about 2016, 2017, 18. So
Yeah.
this is going. Oh, there we go. Someone said Metallic Elmo said Bitfinex. This was the name of the account.
Yeah, the name of the
Bitfinex.
exchange.
That
Yeah,
was that was
Bitfinex.
no Bitfinex was the name of the Twitter account,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
because he was calling out the fraud of what was going on with Bitfinex. Yeah, and Brock Pierce. Yeah, Brock Pierce is also involved with USDT. Mhm. So it's very interesting times. I've met a lot of great people here in Panama. Panama seems to be one of those places where a lot of stuff begins because of the way it's set up for corporations and foundations. Companies tend to do a lot of financial stuff here. So,
Mm,
which is why we're a gray. We're always in the gray market.
yeah.
can't get a crypto credit card here. No, Panama's not allowed. It's like,
Yeah.
bastards.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going on for sure.
Yeah, but I live free. I mean, I generally I live quite free, so I'm happy. I can go buy crypto anywhere I want. Go down to my coffee shop. Got a buy and sell machine. I got friends just down the street. Bring in 10K cash. They'll sell you USDT.
Wow.
Whatever you want.
That's dope.
Yeah, I love it. It's like a real free market when it comes to finance. So I'm
Mhm.
happy to be here. All right, so I just noticed I have my Aurochs up here, and it says Bitcoin's 29,074 right now, and we did dip below 29 like 3 times since we've been talking. So
Yep.
it's a little bit volatile at the current time. I did see your red pill yesterday, and you said that we could possibly have another fake out rally coming over the next couple of weeks. You
Yep.
know,
Yeah, it's because the way that Bitcoin has been moving lately, and it's a pattern, very cyclical. We've been seeing it for the past half a year where Bitcoin likes to go low first, shoot to its lowest low before it goes up. Like if we're talking a micro cycle, like just maybe a 30, 40-day, 50-day cycle, it tends to have a low, which has a spring-like effect, and it actually sends you to break structure on the upside to actually get through the resistance. And what we're watching right now is a very technical play. It's a typical thing, right? Think of from the market maker's perspective, what they want to do is trigger all of your stops, and then they want to probably liquidate as many people as they can, getting slightly below the support, and then they want to fake out in the other direction right before they catch you. Basically they get you both ways. It's classic market maker manipulation.
you have to have a lot of money to do that.
Yeah. And I don't say
Seriously.
manipulation like the way that most people say it. Like Randy, you being somebody who has watched enough of my work, like I rarely throw that word around. But from a trading perspective, if we're looking at like the daily chart, the 4 hour, like we're really zooming in here and we're only looking at 40-day fractals. Well, then, yeah, it's obvious that there's manipulation because you get all of the moments before you break your resistances, you also break support. And it has this like V-shaped recovery effect. I mean, how many times has it happened this year?
So many times. It's ridiculous.
And on altcoins, it's really, really elusive. Like it's super elusive. And it's why I tell people like you probably shouldn't even mess around with trading altcoins, especially with leverage, unless you really know what you're doing.
That's one thing I've never done. I did trade leverage on XRP back in the day when it first hit BitMEX. So that had to be like 2018. I tried because I kept shorting XRP. I have to admit, I'm a XRP hater, especially back in the day. And I made a lot of money on XRP back when it was sub a tenth of a penny, 20th of a penny. I mean, I've been around since 2014. So I did very well on XRP back in the day. But when I made my first 10X, I never came back. And I just, Brad Garlinghouse never rubbed me right. I never was into that guy. But overall, it's nothing against XRP. XRP is fine. I understand ISO 2022 and those kind of things. It's just that I
get your position because of what you spoke about earlier. Like you're talking about like somebody who seeks freedom and sovereignty. I mean, it's like everything that XRP and the company Ripple stands for is essentially teaming up with the banks. Like they're outright admitting it. Brad Garlinghouse at conferences just gets on a microphone and says it straight up. We decided to partner with the banks. And that's why you know my stance on this game. Like I don't have any particular coin that I profess my love to. Like it goes back to that saying, don't hate it, don't date it.
Just make money.
I don't really have any desire to be picking sides here. I'm just a student of the game and I take action when needed, when the market gives me what I want. And that's kept me in this position where I get to stay unbiased and balanced. And a lot of people think that I hate XRP because I say that I don't believe it's going to go up to some arbitrary price target in the triple digits. But then when I say that it's going to go to like $4 or $1 or whatever,
they love you.
Then they or they hate me because they're like, it's not enough. And then I'm like, I don't really like this energy is not really conducive to your growth here on this planet, let alone as an investor. All of that shit needs to go away if you really want to, make some progress in this game of life.
For sure. I'm not.
And that's the stuff people don't really want to talk about, right? Because that requires a mindset change.
Yeah. I mean, my Patreon, we tend to be gray hairs, Gen X and boomers. And it's a different mindset because most of the people that are there, they've already built some wealth and they're just looking to increase their wealth, and whatever vehicle gets them there, they're happy. And so, I talk about things outside of the Pulse Chain and Hex community. I love Quant, for example. Quant is one that's ISO 20022 coins. Mm-hmm. And I think that'll be an important one for anybody's portfolio. Everyone should have some. I'm a Pulse Chain guy, but Pulse Chain is still very speculative. You're looking at something that we hope that it survives. I understand that Richard's very good at doing what he's doing, but we hope, whereas Ethereum is here. So it's hard to go against something like Ethereum and just pray that this new thing is going to do very well.
Yeah, precisely what I said in my podcast that I just released. Like I said the same thing. I said, really, you don't really need to speculate on a Bitcoin or Ethereum. You just really don't. You know what I'm saying? But when you're getting into a lot of these other altcoins, and I'm not saying bad things about the altcoins. I could isolate some solid ones that have a good project, a good working technology, have a solid team behind them, solid white paper, you name it. But it's still being traded predominantly by retail, and retail does what every, cycle, it's the same thing. They wait and wait and wait until it gets euphoric. So if you want to play that game, you got to know how to trade. But if you're looking at to hold and really have a sophisticated portfolio and, just be in a position where you don't need to be so active, where you could focus on life rather than staring at charts, well, then you can't lose with a Bitcoin or Ethereum. Right. You just chill. And you could, for the most part, it's very hands off. But a lot of other things, I mean, you're getting into you're getting into a different Russian roulette, especially if you're not long term or if you don't have the money to lose. And that's what kind of gets most people during a bull run. I think you could admit we probably both watched this in the last cycle. People waited and waited till the market started to get overheated. Then they put in way too much money and were way too speculative. And then they had no plan to exit. and we need to do that in reverse. Like, you need to kind of slowly, incrementally dollar cost average over a period of time where it's fearful and boring. That's
Yep.
my favorite thing to say is buy the boredom.
Buy
When
the
it's
boredom or
boring,
buy it when everyone's fighting.
yeah, exactly. Like, buy their tribalism,
Yep.
buy their cult-like mentality. Because at the end of the day, like, if you could just see it as an opportunity and you have the stomach to make it through, then you're going to be fine. I think that's why a lot of people, and I appreciate you for this for sure, a lot of people from the hex community have started to take to some of my uh, theories and my vision and my strategy and just what I speak on, because they know I'm not here to attack anybody that's involved in this project. I'm not against Richard Hart. I'm not against Hex or Pulse Chain or any of. I mean, I really just want people to see that there's an opportunity here. That's all. And this is not a hodl coin. Like, I will repeat that again. This is clear in the charts that this thing had a very good run already, and now it's lost a substantial amount of its value. It had a beautiful automatic rally, but then
On
it's sunk.
Ethereum, though, on Ethereum,
Correct.
it's split, right?
Yeah, now I know. Yeah.
Okay, all right, all right.
But that's only updated, what, like 30 days ago, 40 days
Yeah,
ago?
it's 30 days old, the new one. All right, no,
Well,
it's almost. When did it come out? I think it was May. So like
I just did
mid-May.
TA on it yesterday in the red pill. I actually
Yeah.
covered PulseX. So I'm aware of the chart. I'm aware of the structure. I'm aware of what it's looking like, where it can go next. I was very thorough in that analysis, actually. So I did both analysis. I did it on eHex and I did it on PulseX.
PX. Oh,
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah. So
All
I
right.
I shared both of the analysis on
Are you
either.
sure you didn't do? It's not like you say Pulse X, which is the exchange, which is I think I didn't even get that far in the video. I got as far as the hex part. And
So
there's P hex and
yeah,
there's E hex and then there's Pulse X, which is the exchange, which is like Uniswap.
yeah,
So
it's ticker, it's Pulse.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you got PulseX. Well, don't worry. Okay, so right now P hex is sitting at 2.2 cents, something like that. So combined with E hex, we're about sitting at 3 cents. So we're still doing great. I mean, anybody who got the copies did wonderful. So that's why you don't see the hex community complaining right now, because we've done pretty well considering we were as low as 1.7 cents back in January. And right
Mhm.
now we're at 3.3 cents. So
Well,
we're actually up combined.
I think what I have appreciated about the Hex community, and probably why you guys aren't as mad as maybe some other coins that have communities built around them, is you guys actually know how to custody your own shit and move around and trade on, like, off of these, exchanges, because you have
Yeah.
those skills and you
Don't need
built up
them.
and you're aware of the staking protocol. Like, you're aware. I feel like the people that are in Hex did a lot more research than the people who got into something like, let's just say, Bitcoin, or definitely something like Shiba Inu or Doge. Like, they were just told what's trendy and they got in. But I feel like the Hex people are a little bit more tech savvy. They're a lot more sophisticated in, like, why they decided to commit to that project. And for
Sure.
me, that's a part of a sophisticated investment thesis. So I am always impressed when I talk to people about Hex.
Yeah.
The amount of knowledge they have comparatively to the people that I talk about XRP or Ethereum or etc.
Because they're
So
still using all this
that's a
centralized
huge shout out.
garbage. It's insane to me that they're still using these things. I stopped using centralized stuff in 2019. It's crazy.
Well, it's because and you have a desire to know. And if you have desire and you follow it with action, then you're going to get those results. And a lot of people, I think, just want to get rich yesterday. They want everything to be seamless, quick, efficient, simple. They don't want to learn multiple, instruction steps. They just want to be able to, pop into something, log in, and then click a couple buttons and have it be simple. Like, they don't want to learn.
Right. Absolutely. That's the whole 80-20 rule. That's just how life rolls, and that's why I think I do so well. And if we talked about being a wolf earlier, one of your big things is you like to talk about being the wolf, and I think that's if you have that, if you're any bit of a savage, you're just gonna just dominate in this market. And it's not just crypto; it's in life, because people are just so I don't know. I don't want to say sheep, but it's kind of,
Yeah, no, I feel you.
it's kind of what
They
they've
mean well,
become
though.
today.
Yeah,
Yeah, they mean well. They want to obey. They want to sit down and relax and
right.
just go with the flow. I can't do that, man. I can't.
Because for you, you actually are sensitive to uncomfortability, and you're also sensitive to comfortability. And I know that sounds like kind of like awkward, but it's true. Like
Yeah.
when I get comfortable, I start seeking challenge. And when I'm uncomfortable, I instantaneously fucking change it. So when somebody, during C19, people like put on a mask, I'm like, what did you just say to me? Like, I ain't doing anything you say. Like,
Exactly.
you tell me what to do at all, and I will never speak to you again. Like that's just my way. I'd rather be a lone wolf than, be obedient. So if I
Absolutely.
start seeing everyone doing a certain thing, I'm like, no, this is making me uncomfortable now. But for the masses,
Absolutely.
that makes them comfortable, right?
Yeah.
To not feel awkward,
Yeah,
and
I gotta show you my shirt. It says punishable with a fine means legal for a fee.
yeah,
I am like, I piss every authoritarian off that I come in contact with. I'm like, you told me what? I have to do what? I don't think
yeah,
so.
yeah,
It just
yeah.
doesn't work.
I've noticed like through my study of the Bolshevik Revolution and what was going on and some of these big changes in, socialism, fascism, communism, which are all kind of very similar in a way. But it's really global socialism, globalist, which is the thing that we've all been experiencing on this earth since pretty much the end of World War II, the implementation of a World Health Organization, a United Nations, a World Economic Forum, a World Bank, all of that, an IMF, International Monetary Fund, even CERN, the Vatican, Washington, D.C., and how it's in cahoots with the city of London. It's all tied together. And
Yes, it is.
people think that countries are different. And I've found out the optical illusion of why they believe that. And it's because they have different flags, but that's it. That's
Yes, it
how I
is.
simplify the psychopathy. It's like we
They
don't
might speak a
realize
different language too. That's about it. Right?
yeah, but at the top of the top, like they speak a similar language, and that's the language of capitalism and profit. And these people, the way that they do capitalism is they are willing to kill you. They're willing to torture you. They're willing to do whatever it takes to maintain that power hierarchy, to maintain being the capstone on the pyramid, if you will. So it's really fascinating when you start to look at all the agendas and how they've taken place over time. And you would think something like identity politics, would not have anything to do with capitalism. But then you learn like it has everything to do. It has everything to do with manipulating the mind to get really comfortable with the matrix to the point where they believe their leadership has a plan for them that's just and a plan for them that is in the lane of progress. And in that event, you should just give up all of your freedom and let it fall as they fall. And we've seen like time and time again. I think it's speeding up though. How do you feel? Like I think the radical changes in our world, the demoralization is speeding up rapidly.
It's insanity. I got a perfect example. We were my son plays soccer slash football, and
Mhm.
we have practice Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and the I have nothing against the LGBTQ community, whatever alphabet.
For
I'm good
sure.
with you. Just don't force me to accept it. That's all. I consider myself I'm a Christian and I have my beliefs, but I don't hate the people. I love them. I just don't want their ideologies pushed on me. So we were at football one day or soccer practice, and the kids they play in this area that's fenced off. And our park is amazing. It's absolutely gorgeous. Then we have a covered area where you can sit and you just watch the kids play. Well, this group of dancers, they got in front of us and they were all like shaking their butts around and doing all these things, and we all just said, no, you can't do this, guys. That you're not dancing in front of our kids like this, in a very sexual way, right?
Yeah.
And I said no. So one of the moms went and got the security guard, and the security guard said, "Look, guys, this isn't respectful. If you do things disrespectfully, you're going to piss people off. Do it in a respectful manner, and people will respect you." So they took them and they went to the other side of the park, underneath one of the other cabana areas, and they were doing their dancing on the other side. But I couldn't believe that they were so brazen to think that was okay. I mean, popping your ass in front of
Yep.
like all of us and the kids, it's like that's not cool.
Yeah.
And I've seen the same kind of things happening in New York and San Francisco and other stuff. And to me, that kind of debauchery isn't really welcome. I don't understand why we have to accept it. We could stand up and say, as a society, we could say, no, this should not be allowed. Because I'm seeing stuff out in the U.S. and Europe that's just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Little kids walking by 100% naked dudes with their schlong hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean that's just not cool. It's not happening here.
Yeah.
Panama's still a Catholic country, so they're still a little bit more strict. But
yeah.
It is.
Or like having a trans stripper who's dressed up as they would be on shift at the strip club, reading books to 4 and 5-year-old children. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I didn't see any heterosexual strippers reading books to me when I was 5. I didn't see any strippers at all, actually, at a public fucking school. So that's kind of the thing. And what people fail to realize is the agenda is actually exactly that. It's to blur the lines between age and sexuality. And people think that the LGBT whatever movement is for adults, and it's not. It was designed by pedophiles. It was designed legitimately by people who have already adopted blurring the lines in their own that's their own psychosis. So anyways, I don't want to go there right now, but the point is that because it's speeding up so rapidly, it's distorting people's way of maybe focusing on what we should have been focusing on to begin with, which is protecting ourselves from a tyrannical government. That was the foundation of something like in America, right? So when you're so, what's the best word here? Distracted. When you're so distracted by all of these moving parts, and they're definitely coming back to identity, why worry about your freedom, or why worry about like how secure your family is financially or whatever? Like, so that's like, it's a multifaceted chess game. And the people who are running this show, the stewards of our matrix, are like Bobby Fischer times infinity with their chess game.
I haven't heard Bobby Fischer's name in a while.
Yeah, I like him. I bring him up a lot.
He's a champion chess player, for those of you guys who do not know. Man, we're up to almost 250 viewers live. This is amazing. This video will end up getting probably about 5,000-6,000 views for me. That's pretty high for me. But very cool.
The thing that made me change my mind on chess, and the reason I bring it up a lot lately, people who come to my live streams are probably going to hear me talk about it a lot, is because I learned that at like a grandmaster chess game, they're burning more calories in one of their games than like an Olympic swimmer who's doing
Seriously? Because their brains?
Yeah, it shows you that you don't actually need to be moving your body. Like just your brain thinking at that level can start to burn an immense amount of calories. And I thought it was fascinating how it shows that this whole experience we're having here in this life or reality or the matrix or whatever you prescribe to, it is mental, no matter how you chop it up. Like even if you go down to the quantum, level, like it's all mental. And it's beautiful that it's mental, actually, because then you see that freedom and abundance and all of these qualities, they don't exist with your looks. They don't exist in the realm of how attractive you are, how fast you are, how strong you are. It's like, look at the people who are really, really running the world. They're not attractive. They're old, decrepit, weak, just like they're losers. They're fucking nerds.
But yet they're able to... had like, was it Rockefeller that had like 4 heart transplants?
Probably.
Like yeah. It was some crazy amount of heart transplants.
Yeah. Like when you drink that much blood, you probably start deteriorating internally.
That's nasty. Oh, it sounds so terrible. It's so true.
They admit to this stuff, though. Like they admit to this. It's hilarious. Like they're not hiding anything, man. Like anyways, I think it's actually pretty cool, though, to get back on track, how a lot of billionaires, a lot of really successful people, and even like Christine Lagarde have brought up things like numerology or have brought up things like astrology.
She does it all the time.
She's an interesting character, and like when I see them spilling the beans on that, I like to bring that up to the people who come to my work and they have disbelief, where they're like, there's no way astrology, or there's no way gematria or numerology. And I'm like, okay, you don't need to believe me per se. Like, first of all, I got influenced by applying this because of me finding these interviews or these little slips. What are they called? Like a Freudian slip, or like maybe it is just them like being like, hey, these people are hypnotized anyways, so we could just tell the truth and they won't even realize. They might think we're joking.
There'll be a small group like us who will mention it, and it'll stay within the 20%. They
Yeah.
don't care.
It's like Bill Gates at that TED talk where he was like, yeah, by having the V, we could eliminate like 10% of the world's population. And I was like, yo, he just straight up said it. Like
He said it.
he said it, dude.
It's clipped everywhere.
I remember showing that to somebody and they were literally speechless. They were like, how is this so popular and how is this out there? And how could he possibly defend that he's not, And I'm like, well, they don't need to defend anything. Like these people own the media. They own the law. They are in control. So
Yes,
what do they have to defend?
Yeah, they could turn the narrative any way they want. Is that like that story about who was the comedian that disappeared to Africa?
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, when they renegotiated his contract, he had like $500 million he was making, and they said, no, we're going to pay you $50 million, and take this with a grain of salt. I got this off of TikTok. So he was supposed. I love it, man. TikTok's amazing. So $500 million, and he said they told him, no, you're going to get $50 million. He goes, well, I'm just going to go tell my fans that you guys stole from me. They told him by the time you get back to your hometown or get back home, the whole world will know that you're crazy. And that's exactly what they did. And for a long time. And then he disappeared to Africa for a while just to get away from all the
Yep. They did the same thing to Mel Gibson.
Yes, they said everybody that he was crazy. And then he moved down here to Panama for a while.
Oh, did he? Wow. Yeah, that's interesting.
He lives here part-time.
Yeah. He's a really interesting character. Like I found interviews from him back in like the 90s where he's just like telling it all about Hollywood and what's up there.
Absolutely. Interesting thing about Panama, I'll let you know that celebrities, no one bothers a celebrity here. So the Panamanians are very quiet and they keep to themselves. They're not like, go take a picture with me. Mel Gibson just walks down the Cinta Costera, which is our waterfront. No one says a word to him, just leaves him alone. It's like he likes it. That's why he loves Panama. So just put that out there.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, I'm always interested when I hear about these stories of like one celebrity going crazy or whatever. Like, it's always like perfectly in alignment with some truth they've revealed and, a slip up in an interview or just something, And I can't blame him. Could you blame him or them when you have a heart and you have like compassion for your species and you see the way that these people treat children and what they do to each other, the trafficking? It's like, dude, even if you're like really, really put through the ringer personally, even if you yourself was maybe abused or like you're not being treated so well by the production company or your agent or whatever, like that heart really feels, and it's you're gonna go crazy if you don't reveal that truth, if you just bottle it all up.
Yes.
So that in and of itself, when people are like, oh, Shia LaBeouf is crazy, I'm like, dude, imagine you had his life. Like, imagine you grew up in his situation. Like, you don't know what that's like, man.
No, not at all. Not at all. And speaking of this movie that came out, I can't remember the name of it, talking about the trafficking.
Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom.
Have you seen it yet?
No, it hasn't been released in Panama. Originally, Cinemark was going to launch it here, and then they pulled it. They decided not to launch it. Now there was kind of an uprising in Panama. Everyone's like, we want to see the movie. So Cinépolis, which is a Mexican brand of theaters, they are going to show the movie here in Panama. It's going to launch, I think, mid-August or something. So we will be able to see it. I'm pretty happy that someone came to their senses.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I'm aware of the story though, because I'm aware of Tim Ballard and what he's been up to over this time. But yeah, man, it's pretty brutal and it's a big revealing. And I believe it made actually more money in the box office than Indiana Jones, like the first week.
That's amazing.
And if you compare the production value, like how much it costs to actually the budget on either film, you'd be like, whoa, like pretty amazing that this film garnered so much attention. But what I find the most fascinating is the way that mainstream media is starting to come up with the newspapers and like all the headlines to tell people to basically not watch the movie or why they shouldn't believe in the movie, or like it's classic, man. Like some of the stuff they start reaching for. They're like, it's a QAnon.
Yeah, there you go.
your Trump, sucking. Yeah, they just like start throwing out the most insane stuff. It's like, no, I think human beings just don't want to see children be treated that way. Like, I think
That
that's
might be it,
probably
right?
it. Yeah, it's like the same reason that at a football game you don't want to see like these people doing that dance in front of your children. Like, that's not taught to you by a QAnon message board. Like, that's taught to you through like just optics. You're like, this does not sit well with me. That's all.
Absolutely. There's a lot of weird stuff happening out there, especially you can check on social media. There's this group of people that have been going live streaming on TikTok lately, and they're like girls in these little boxes. It almost looks like shipping containers, and they have
Oh
like
no.
little pools, and they just live for hours on end, and they're just dancing and stuff, and it looks really bizarre because there's nobody around. It's just a light, and they got like little pools and stuff, and they, every time the music comes on, they jump in the pool and they dance around, and to me that looks like trafficking. Like, they're
Yeah,
using
bro.
these young girls to get their accounts built up to hundreds of thousands, a million users or whatever, and they're profiting off of that while they're forcing these young women to do these things. So it's really disappointing to see that. If we really pay attention on social media, we can see that there's trafficking done all around us, and it's very disheartening.
Yeah.
I know that Panama, obviously, a lot of it comes through here because of
Oh
the
yeah.
canal.
Yep.
Maybe not in the country itself, but through the canal, there's a lot. There's got to be.
Yeah. I mean, when you learn about this stuff, man, it's a lot. Like, I remember when I first started learning about all this stuff, it took me a while to get back to normal. I was really fucked up about it because I learned about a lot of the specifics, like the shipping container specifics. And people think, like, here's one misconception, and then maybe we should move on. But people think that a lot of these shipping containers are grody, like, just like dirt and like
No, they're not.
horrible. No, you guys do not get it. Like, a lot of them are like tiny homes. Like, they're like triple stacked, fucking have bunk beds in them, like fucking flat screen TVs. Like, people don't get it. People think that because that's the picture they paint for you in a lot of the propaganda film. They want you to think like, but no, man, like they know the way kids are. Like, they'll be more compliant if you give them toys, if you give them good food, like if you take care of them. And it's just not only kids, it's women, grown women too. Grown women, absolutely. Like, you can't forget that. But yeah, man, like when I started learning about those specifics, like the both sides, the way that it all is. Yeah, it's rough. It's super rough. It made me realize something that's really important. It's that the awareness is important, but it's also important that we kind of be careful with who we talk about this stuff with. Because when I started learning about it, I would talk about it with like anyone. And I learned that those people would instantaneously get uncomfortable, and then they would demote all the other things I was saying. And it became a big conspiracy. It's like, oh, well, he believes this, so he must believe in the earth is flat, and he must believe in,
Yes.
and I'm like,
Yes.
you're grouped all together as one in this thing. And I've like, that taught me a lot about communication with other people. It's the same thing as saying this market is ran off of numerology, astrology, and gematria. People that hear that, they're like not ready for it. They get uncomfortable and they say, no, this can't be.
It
It
can't
has to
be.
be. It can't be. So that again, it shows me that like when you're really a conscious individual, when you're really tapped in and you see that extra layer that most people are blinded to, well, you're special, and I'm not saying that to like give you a pat on the back for no reason, but it's like, really, you have the sight, and with this sight, like, it's a gift, and it could be a burden at first. Like, learning about too much truth could really mess a
Oh, it gets
man up.
lonely. For me, it
Oh
was
yeah.
loneliness
Oh
for many
yes.
years. After I tell the story all the time about how I lost my patriotism when I was in the Navy, and I saw some
Okay.
things that I should not have seen, and
Oh my God, I could
I didn't
imagine.
know why we didn't respond the way I was taught that we respond, the GI Joe way, and instead we responded in the Cobra way.
Yeah.
So, speaking to the Gen Xers out there, so I became really disheartened, and I got out of the Navy for 10 years after 99 to until I moved to Panama, actually in 2011. I was just lost, man. just
Yeah.
just going back and forth, did not know what to do with my life. Just I was so confused. I'm like, how am I supposed to do, make a mark in this world when no one will listen to me and no one will hear what I have to say, because I know what I'm saying is right about the Federal Reserve, because I was a Ron Paul guy and all these things, but nobody's listening. It didn't happen until I came to Panama. When I came to Panama and I began to write on blog posts and get into the gold and silver world and those kind of things, that's when people started hearing me, and that Bitcoin came and boom, 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 it just built upon itself. But yeah, I think you understand how lonely it gets.
Oh yeah. No, it really does. And like a lot of people don't realize that the recruitment process to getting people into some of these nefarious sections of Navy, Air Force, etc., is just testing how willing you are to take on some of these weird jobs. Like how do you think the pilot makes it to the position where he's flying the airplane that blows out barium and strontium? What do you think he has to go? Do you think that was an American Airlines pilot that was just like, I'm bored and I need some side money. Let me go jump in a fucking hollowed out plane with no seats in it, with
Yeah.
just tanks of, barium.
Aluminum,
No,
barium, strontium.
yeah, like he doesn't even know what plane he walked into. Like there is no curtain on that plane. That is a solid shut door. Homie walks into that plane, thinks that he's doing whatever. He doesn't know. Like it's so compartmentalized. The people that are, doing these shipping container things full of trafficking and all the other stuff, they don't know what's in those shipping containers. Like it is all compartmentalized. And I'm lucky on my platform that I've been able to, be ruthless about delivering this truth, because I have had a lot of people in military that have come to me after talking about like documentaries like Europa, The Last Battle, etc. And they're like, dude, I'm so glad you talked about this, but also like I feel so ashamed that I was a part of this, for maybe 10 years, 15 years, or my father was a part of it and he promoted it as if it was so good and so just. But, when you learn some of these nuances, some of these truths, because their attempt at, slipping you into some nefarious part of it, and your heart started to go, nope, nope, I can't do this,
Can't do it.
you can't do this. And like that's really the thing. They're testing everyone in this world, even in Hollywood, brother, even in the music industry. You think that these high level people like Kanye and Jay-Z and whatever, you think that they're instantly joining this group of high level entertainers and they're immediately doing all the orgies and crazy? No, they're giving you some time to warm up to it. Like Mel Gibson talks about this, and Jim Caviezel, and a lot of people that are in Hollywood. It's not like on day one you just show up and everyone's telling you the truth and the secrets. They slowly roll it out to you, so you go, oh, that makes me uncomfortable, and then they come up to you and they're like, oh, I know it makes you uncomfortable, but you're about to get this movie role.
Yes.
So if you get, this is your shiny object at the end of this. Like, what do you? That's the carrot that you brought up before. And if you go, okay, I will take that. Well, then that's called selling your soul. That's it.
Yeah.
Like at that moment. And that goes for all of us. Like if you're a content creator, if you're somebody who owns your own business, whatever, like if you start to only do things for money and you will be immoral in the process, that's selling your soul. Like you have to be a real one here. You're that contract that you have, it's with God. Like seriously, whatever that is to you, whether that's within or out, that's a sacred contract. And when you start to go against that, like good luck watching what your life turns into.
Yeah, we've seen so many of them, and look at how quickly they go downhill too. A lot of the ones who signed the contract, and then there's the other ones that they must go real deep because they last forever.
Well, because once you get in, that's it. You have to keep it up. You have to keep up the charade, and that's just how it's written.
You can't be the Amy Winehouses who get destroyed, right?
Yeah, I'm always fascinated in those stories about these people that are passing so young, that had so much going for them, and then they give you the same story over and over again. They're like, they were depressed, they did drug. It's like, dude, everyone's depressed, everyone's doing drugs. It's like, why did they perfectly go out at the moment they did? That's what I want to know.
Exactly. Holy crap, man. Gives me chills thinking about all this stuff. I just don't want to depress our audience too much. I know my Patreon is lit. These folks get it. Your Patreon, the same thing. We attract.
Yeah, they're in the know.
Excuse me. I totally understand the whole energy attraction thing. Many of these people in the chat have already met me in person. I'll pick them up at the airport, or I'll take them around Panama. We'll do some stuff together. And it's amazing to me how much we have in common. And the whole idea of the energies that attract energies. And there's not been one person that I have interacted with that I sat and I'm like, I don't like this person. Every single person, I'm like, wow, we have a lot in common. We believe in similar things. And it's just powerful to me that we can do these. We could have this kind of connections. It's a beautiful thing because I don't feel lonely anymore. I have my tribe. I found my tribe, and
that's beautiful.
And I have to thank gold and silver and crypto for that, because I found people that have like mind and just want to be left alone, really enjoy life. And
yeah, I think you're bringing up something that maybe we could segue into, and it's something that I've been talking a little bit about recently, and it's the value of people, like the value of friendship and the value of community. And if we were to somehow divert some of our interests of investment away from like money per se and bring it back to the people, I think we would see, because everyone, I hope you know that money is not the only thing you could invest with. Like, there's a much, 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 much bigger currency out there. It's called love, and it's called attention. You know, attention is way more valuable than money. Data is more valuable than money today, right? We know that.
Yeah.
So, like, people are so damn important. And I got to admit, in my development phase of Waters Above and kind of where my life has been in the last 2 years, not this year, but the 2 years prior, around the C19 event, which I know was perfect for me. So this is not a complaint, but I got a little off track where I started to kind of put a little too much of my prana in building the business and pretty much protecting myself, because I, similar to you, I'm not obedient at work. Like, I couldn't be a worker anymore. And when they started enforcing the mask and maybe even getting the V to go back to work, I was like, no way, dude. There's no way I would ever do that. So I needed to do what I had to do. You know, the whole world was shut down. I was doing what I needed to do. But my point here is that I got a little too focused on that. And the people became in the background, you know? And I'm glad that I went through that moment, and I'm glad that I was man enough to realize that no, it's and by the way, I'm not talking about my supporters right now. I'm talking about the real people in my life. I've always been very grateful for my supporters since the moment somebody bought my first course and I noticed, wow, people actually care. People are interested in this. They want to grow. So I'm not talking about you guys, you know, the wolf pack. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about my real people in my life, like my mother and and like just all of those tangible, you know, important. Yeah, I disregarded it. And then when I was done building up the business, I went to myself and I said, fuck, you know, I shouldn't have been so unbalanced. I should have been a lot more balanced. And I'm lucky that I made that realization, because it was one of the motivators behind my last course that I released, the Expansion Mastermind, where it's centered around like the people and community being the cornerstone and being of the highest value. It's not necessarily your bank account or your assets you have or the house you own or where even you live, you know. And just having maybe a digital community, just to have that digital presence, could be extremely fulfilling and could
absolutely
bring you an immense amount of value.
Absolutely. I think anybody in either one of our Patreons would totally agree with that.
Yeah, it shifted my perspective. And then I got on a conversation with Bearable Bull. I'm not sure if you watched any of the interviews that I did with him, but he also felt a similar way, and we were vibing on that idea. And it's obvious in his life too that he is somebody who is a people person. Like, he likes to put a lot of his energy into the circle. You know, I think, is it Warren Buffett or maybe Charlie Munger, one of these investor mogul? They're like, you need to have your circle of 5 be like high level performers. Otherwise, if your circle of 5 people is like, you know, just all playing the victim and wanting handouts and, you know, saying how much the government sucks all day, but not taking any action, or just blame, you know, that kind of energy, complaining about your boss. It's like, well, if you hate your boss so much, why don't you create a job? Why don't you create a job for yourself?
Yes.
You know, this person's paying your bills, man. Like, and if you're unable to realize that, how do you deserve to move forward? So I tell people who follow my work, like, if you really want to grow, if you want to expand, Go to work tomorrow and stop complaining about your boss. Go to your work tomorrow and stop complaining about the customer, because the customer pays your boss, who pays you, and that's how you're fucking paying your water bill. But yet you're complaining about all these parties that are involved. So it's a lack mindset, right?
Yeah.
But the people are so valuable, man. Like when I started to make that shift, it really changed my perspective. And now when I invest with money, it doesn't have the same worth. When I'm just putting it in crypto, to me, that's play. That's just total play money. Like I am willing to put money into people. That's really what I think is what's going to change the world. Whether we are pro crypto or not doesn't really matter. Like if we were to continue prioritizing the stocks and crypto as our main form of investment, this world will go to shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit too selfish. It really is this selfish sphere, in my opinion, what we do. I just want to make it fun while we're doing it, and teach people to take their profits and change it into something else. Like for me, my next step is I want to buy the farm, and be out in the country where I can disconnect and reconnect with nature and do that kind of stuff. I think that I love crypto, but crypto it's just, for me, it's an avenue to get where I want to go.
That's right.
And I've loved it. Yeah. I've been involved since 2014. I haven't gotten burnt out. Thanks to the Patreon, I'm actually enjoying it again. For a while there, I just didn't enjoy it. I think 2017, 18, 19, it was not enjoyable for me. It was very stressful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I launched over 40 projects. I don't know if you know that. I was one of the guys who, the black hand of crypto, I was behind the scenes launching projects. And I did not enjoy that time in my life. It was very stressful. And yeah, I don't care if it was a bull market, launching a project going up 50, 60x. And then you see that, and the money's nice, but it's still a very stressful time. And I don't ever want to do that kind of stuff again.
Yeah, if you're not enjoying life, then it doesn't matter how much money you're making.
No. So now I'd rather just build our own thing in our community, where everyone can get to know each other and help each other out, and let people know when I'm making decisions to buy or sell. If I find a really interesting project, I'll let them know, and that kind of thing. But overall, you go into my Telegram, and it's like broken down into healthy living. It's broken into, living abroad, second residencies. So we're doing a lot of other things. And crypto is just one piece of that. Crypto is the avenue that's going to allow us to get to where we want to be. So,
absolutely. Yeah, it's an investment opportunity. It's not life.
Right. Exactly.
And if you only have investment opportunities and no life, then you're going to be, you're only going to be happy for that short euphoric moment of a bull run. But once the bull run's over, you have this much longer, extended, arduous period of time, the bear market. And, this is not how to live, because then you're always at the mercy of the market's behavior. This is why traders love investors, by the way. Like traders love because the hodl people, they think that they can hold, but they always panic sell, right?
They can't help it.
They can't help it. So like traders really love investors. I know both are trading and both are effectively investing, but what I mean there is just like the people who are playing these swings, who are aware of these big pivots in the market, they're playing you guys like a harp. And it's fun to them, because as long as mainstream media keeps bringing up emotional sentiment angles to drive the sheep like to the slaughter, then the traders get to profit. I think a good example of a person would probably be like an Alessio Rostani, like his past, where he was just very, very like, kind of revealing that the TA is great. The trading is really what sets apart where I'm at versus where this hodl person is. And, the hodl mentality, I think, has really corrupted people's ability to like take some of the chips off the gambling casino, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Because I'm not against people holding. Like I myself have been holding on to a majority of my Bitcoin since I got in. But, I have a purpose for that. A lot of people, when they get in, they're just listening to somebody else, copying it, and then hoping for dear life that they make money. And that was never the purpose of Bitcoin, right? The purpose of crypto was actually to not necessarily make more money. It was to protect your capital, to be a alternate game to the traditional system, which is always being printed more and more and more. And I talk about this with people who are new, and it's like they think I'm speaking Chinese to them. And I'm like, wait, you only got in this game to make money? You didn't see that other purpose? And I'm just bringing that up because I want to remind people that, like, yes, I just spoke moments ago about taking profits and taking some off the gambling casino, but you have to have like a holistic strategy. There is a purpose for a long-term portfolio. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I could feel and I could sense that a lot of people are not prepared, and they only get in when it's euphoric. They buy tops. And then when the market starts rolling over, they're like, what's going on? It's
What
a
do I
scam
do?
again. They start
Yeah.
calling it a scam. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not a scam because you decided to wait, Like, I tell people about my story all the time, and I'll make it super short. But when I got into crypto as an investor, like an active investor, I was studying it for at least a year and a half before that. But when I actually took action and started taking some of that fiat and putting it to work was when I heard the Federal Reserve during the start of the pandemic reveal that they were just going to print all this money. And I was like, okay, I've studied the economy
Game on.
enough to know that this is the time. Like, I don't even care if it goes down a little right now. Like, I know that those words in a year will show completely different results than the market we're looking at today, just by them saying they're going to do that. And then they started sharing how every week they were just loading the stock market up with money. Like, they were admitting on a calendar, like every week, like pretty much billions that they were just flooding into the market, artificially propping it up. And I was like, this is gorgeous. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Cause when the hyperinflation, because when the hyperinflation comes, like I'm gonna be in fiat because I know about the Shemitah. And that was another like purpose of being aware of the Shemitah. It wasn't just to like take advantage of a bull run. It was to be aware that the dollar, the USD, actually is pretty strong during a Shemitah year. And boom, like there we go. People were anticipating that we were going to have like food shortages. And I was like, no, food's just going to be more expensive. That's all. And like you could have taken advantage of this 10x across the board on pretty much everything, including Bitcoin. I mean, some things went up 100x.
Wow. Yeah, well,
right?
I did like 1200x on Hex. It's like,
oh shit. So Hex has treated you well, I could see.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's treated me very well. And one thing I see SMO Spider keeps commenting about Hex T-shares, and Hex T-shares are where it's at because my average stake length right now is 11 and a half years. So I took a lot off the table early on in 2021, and now it's just let it ride. So that for an investor, I think that's the best way, is just as long as you can't touch it.
Yeah.
I can touch them, yeah, but I'll just get my principal back and wreck my rewards. But overall, I want the rewards too, so I'm just gonna let them sit. I got plenty of other stuff that's liquid and I can trade back and forth and go into other assets. Like I said, I want to buy the farm. I'd like to buy a condo and those kind of things. Maybe a beach house if this market does very well. We'll see where it goes, but overall, I think the way the world is going, we need this next bull market. And I'm telling everybody here in chat and whoever watches this video, this next bull market, you better take some money off the table and put it into something that's going to protect you long term, because I don't know what's going to happen in 2029 and the next Shemitah comes. It could get really nasty, and you might.
And these returns aren't going to keep up forever.
No,
like,
they're not.
They're not. These insane returns that we're seeing in the past bull run, like I don't think we're going to get them again. Like I think we have one more chance at getting those insane returns, meaning where you could put a little bit of fiat and make a substantial amount ROI. Yeah. And that's not me trying to make people want to FOMO or anything. It's just, I would say we all need to get through September, October, play it safe, because we have the historic data on our side saying that that's a scary time period to be overly, I guess the word I should use is, what's the proper, there's a word that I want to pull out that's applicable.
Your brain does that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of the exact word, because I think that it's one of those that just, it hits the nail on the head. But exposed. Okay. Too much exposure, that's it. Like I think you don't want to be overly exposed right now to the most speculative asset class ever. Especially at a time where we're watching tech stocks, some of them at all-time highs, just purely off of speculation.
I told my community that hold on a second. I told my community last week that I was going to stables with a lot of my liquid stuff.
Yep.
And I
Smart.
put it in, just for through, well, originally we were talking, I was saying maybe by September 18th or something like that, but now you got me creeped. Now I might go all the way to October, mid-October.
Well, just wait till what the market, wait to see what the market gives us. Like, that's my thing. Like, we look at the DXY, we look at what's going on in the indices, and then we could kind of use like Bitcoin dominance, stable coin. We could make some determinations off of, and there's savvy people out there that are looking at like housing market, all sorts of other metrics, so. But I had a question for you, actually. I'm wondering, what's your take on this Richard Hart documentary film that's coming out? Like, do you have any kind of speculation on what that'll do for Hex? Or, yeah, I would love to know your thoughts.
Initially I did, and you covered it in your Red Pill yesterday, where you talked about
loosely, theoretically,
you talked about the two towers and the TA. And I sold, I made about 30% on the trade. I went in, I bought a bunch of liquid Hex, and I just didn't feel like there was enough momentum to keep it going. And then I learned, because I've learned this from you, was the full moon cycle, or the moon cycles, and the night that it launches is the full moon, and on August 4th, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm out.
A couple days after it. Yep.
I'm like, I'm out. I am not gonna play with this liquid game. I don't play with the moons. I'm a psych nurse by training, and I worked in the hospital. I did ambulances. I worked emergency rooms. Look, the full moon is real. You do not mess around with a full moon. So I am out. So I said, you know what? It's a blue moon in August, which means we have two full moons. We have the 28th as well. So I said, maybe this isn't a good time to hold it. Even if I miss some move, if it goes up 50% and I miss that, too bad. I have to buy back higher if I wanted it. Yeah. But there's going to be plenty of assets that I can get into. I think the documentary is going to do very well. Like I said, it was verified that in your video you covered Pulse X, which was the exchange. You didn't get Pulse Hex. You messed up that one, but it's okay. We'll forgive you. In your video,
so the chart structure is almost identical to PLS.
No, the Hex on Pulse chain is actually doing very well. It's outperforming Pulse.
Can you send me the official link? Because somebody that's in the Hex community is who sent me that link to that where I started to look at the chart.
It's so easy to mess it up because Pulse X and Pulse Hex sound so similar that maybe they sent you the wrong link.
To clear up any confusion, regardless of what chart I looked at, whatever Hex does regarding chart structure, I would assume that it's going to be a similar essence of what will occur on everything else. Like any other, that's just the basics, So thank you. Please send me that updated one, and then I'll cover that soon.
Sure. It's just wild that so we're at 3 cents right now, and initially because I'm a buy the rumor, sell the news guy. That's how I made my money in crypto. I always did the buy the rumor, sell the news. I was the guy who got to know team members, and I would get some information. Maybe something was coming down the pipe, and I'd buy the tokens on rumors that it was going to go up. And I did that for years and did very well with it. Take 20, 50%, 80%, cut off the top, and that was my profit. And I just recycle that. Well, this time it's because of you and the moon cycles. Now I got scared off. I'm like, man, August might get real rough. I don't know if I want to be exposed in that month. So I took the money off the table. It's not a lot. I got most of my money locked up in liquidity farms and those kind of things. But the other stuff that was liquid, I just put it all in stables.
Yeah, this blue moon, like just the setup, I'm not really enjoying it too much. But also I did, you saw the analysis, but for anyone who didn't get a chance to check it out, it seems like August partially is bullish in a lot of iterations, like whether it be 2015, last year, we saw the market move up pretty much till the same time as it did back in 2015 and 2016. It's like not 2016, 2015, but I did analysis on the stock market too, to kind of confirm this. So it's not just looking at crypto. It's just interesting because when I look at the historic data, which I released on, my August Blue Moon Decoded over on Patreon, I was showing how the month of August is typically a red month across the board. for the past 10 years especially. So it's nice because we have data from post-election years, past 10 years, past 20 years, and then there's one other piece of data that it included. And what I thought was also really interesting about that chart, it's a simple chart and anyone could go research it. It was that October and November are really good when you take the average of the past 10 years. But what's so amazing, right, is we know that November, December, and definitely October during a Shemitah year, like fucking 90% of the time. Like, so it's crazy how when you take 10 years of data and you don't pay attention to that little nuance of the Shemitah, you would think that, oh yeah, all these months are good. But that one, just as a data nerd, which I admit that I am, I love how that did not reveal that truth. Because if you only looked at candlesticks or bars, you know, like a pie chart, you would be missing out on like one of the most important years.
Yes.
Which is the year that we get all of our all-time highs and all of our market crashes. So it's like, I love it. You know, I love when people just skim the data for that, the basic stuff, the very exoteric, but the ones who put in the work, the ones who really, really dive into the nitty gritty and find those tiny little, you know, anomalies, if you will, which are Shemitah years for sure. You know, those are the people that are really prepared. So anyone who was following along my work, you know, over the past 2 years, they were so prepared because I didn't stop talking about it. The same way that I'm not going to stop talking about the fact that we're in a Jubilee year. You know, you just cannot disregard it because this is a once in a 50-year thing. You know, this is so fucking rare. It's so rare.
Yeah,
And
I'll never. I mean, I'm gonna be 50 years old next year, and I probably won't see the next one.
Damn, no, Randy, you're gonna be like a half cyborg man in 20 years, bro. You're gonna like put some Neuralink shit in your cerebellum.
I'll download my intelligence into AI or something.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
upload up.
Yeah, I'm gonna upload my consciousness into a drop of water on a petri dish. That'll be me. Just water's right there on a little on a spoon.
Throw your ashes into the ocean, you'll be good.
Yeah. But man, you know, like I think that it's really rare for two people who are aware of this Shemitah thing and you know the moon cycles and all that, who are focused on kind of different avenues of investment opportunities, but still coming together to collaborate this way. It's really amazing, and I hope that we could continue to collaborate in the future because I think, well, first of all, we vibe really well, but also sure. I think your community and the people who I've had, you know, come over and check out my work since we first connected are really high quality people. Like I do have to say, shout out to Randy's community because you guys have all been super valuable. And that's really what I think me and you are about, right? It's not about all the clicks and the views and the subscribers. It's like high quality creation and high quality people coming in to share their truth that supports or argues, but still the overall goal is expansion. You know,
I'd rather truth.
That's it.
Put the truth out there. I mean, I got banned from Facebook, got banned from Pinterest, got banned from Twitter. Now I'm on my backup account on Twitter. You know, it's like if I only cared about views and stuff, I would be kissing their asses. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I'm a drop in the bucket even for what's going on in this world. Like, I mean, I only have like 60,000 subs, and I remind people all the time who are starting new YouTube channels where they only have like 300, 200. I'm like, well, 60,000 is like what, a quarter of a 16th of the population of like Rhode Island. You know, like that's a single tiny little, you know, if you looked at that on the map, you'd be like, yeah, what's that place? I've never heard of it.
Exactly.
So that makes me super abundant in my mindset where I'm like, there's so much opportunity to branch out, you know, and to get this community to, it's not only the community, it's just having everyone come together and try to collaborate on whatever it is that is exciting to them about finances, about health and wellness, mindset, all of it. Because there's been dramatic change in my work from when I first started to the last live stream I've done. You know, we're trying to avoid talking about crypto pretty much at as much as possible on a live stream. But by doing that, it's like brought in a new type of person, the people who may not necessarily be super financially savvy, but they're open-minded in all these other ways. And the
Yes.
results I see from those people financially is fucking 10x above the people who give all of their energy to finances. You see that little like that, that is so cool to me, where I'm seeing these people that are coming from, they're focused on astrology, or maybe they're like a gardener, like somebody who's in agriculture, somebody that found me from an Archaics podcast, who he's mostly talking about ancient civilizations and calendrical systems and all this other. And then they're crossing my path and they're like, yo, and they're getting better results than the people who are spending their whole day on crypto Twitter.
Absolutely.
It's just so cool. It's so cool to me. Like, this is where the abundance is. And
yeah, that's why I gotta step back and go back to talking about things I care about, not just
Right.
crypto. And that's I mean, you do it all the time. I do it all the time. I had one guy, I remember a comment recently on one of my live streams, who's like, why am I watching this? You're not talking about crypto. I mean, because it's not the only thing that interests me. I talk about things that interest me. Like, I had a great talk last night with the guys from Texan Token on YouTube last night. It was wonderful. We had a conversation. It was amazing, and it wasn't just all crypto. And that's what I enjoy, talking about subjects that are interesting.
Yeah, if you're gonna, we vibe on that, brother. Like, I know we've talked about that a couple times during this podcast. Like, we vibe with that. You can't just be only covering crypto, because then when's bear market time, you're gonna be depressed. Like, I watched and I'm not doing this to name call, because that's not my vibe, but that guy Chico Crypto, I'm just bringing this one example up, where
Chico.
at the end of that last bull run that we were just in, like, he was talking about how he's depressed, and he was like even saying he was suicidal. And I wanted to reach out to him. Like, I couldn't get to his people. I just wanted to talk with the man and be like, yo, brother, like, I'm all ears, like, and I could talk with you about what you're going through. And I know that, like, I'll provide that comfort of, like, you to be where you could be vulnerable. But I could sense in a lot of these crypto YouTubers that was all they gave a shit about 24/7, every single moment of the run up. And I knew that once it would start to reverse, those same people, they're not going to receive the same type of prana that they're used to receiving. Like, that life force that they receive is going to be different. It's going to be haters. It's going to be like, people that are, just really the most vile, parasitic type of consumer. It's the people that go to Yellowstone and they're like, this place smells like farts, 1 star. Like,
because they don't understand sulfur.
But that type of content creation is.
Oh, did we lose you? We made it almost the whole live stream with his technical difficulties. Oh,
hear you, brother.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yeah. Am I chopping up or am I clear?
No, you're fine.
Okay. I was just going to say that when that type of content that was being created was catered towards that type.
They don't want you talking about it. Yeah, so this is what was happening when we first started the stream. He couldn't get his sound to work properly. And there we go. All right. Well, I think we've had a great stream, guys. This was a wonderful time. If you're not following him, I just heard his voice again. Let me put his Patreon here into the chat.
I don't know what's going on, brother.
There you go. There you go.
They're trying to shut us down.
Yeah, they are. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I'm not even going to say
Patreon
anymore.
in the chat.
Oh, I appreciate you, brother. I really appreciate you.
Here we go. I'll put this up. Patreon.com/WatersAbove. Post is because I was on post, but that's where you need to go to check that out.
Yeah, that means a lot, brother. I just released that new decode about August. So the people that you're telling about August, I go super deep in that decode. It's about an hour long. And we even talk a little bit about the upcoming BRIC Summit, which I will be decoding next. So for August, I'm going to come out with I'm going to tell you here first because it's good timing, but I'm going to title it Yellow Bricks Road. And
Okay, nice.
it's going to be bringing in these elements, you know, that I think are clearly hidden in plain sight, and it's going to be a fun one. I think it's really going to be, you know, some of my best work yet, because I already have it planned about all the lanes it's going to go down, and it will be released before that BRIC summit. I think it's going to be, maybe you know better than me, like the 25th or 26th. Okay. Well, this is super crucial, everyone. Like, if you want to know about what's going on global financial system, you're going to have to pay attention to BRICS.
Okay.
And I've been purposefully holding off from consuming any content about it. I'm just going to dive in with my own research, do my own decode, and that way it'll be a very unique delivery of the idea. The same thing with FedNow. I didn't learn about FedNow from anyone. I just went to their website and I started going through all the materials, and I created the decode that way. That way I'm not, you know, persuaded by anyone's theories, because there was way too much stuff that I was hearing of people being like, XLM is going to be used by Fed. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, this stuff is madness. So yeah, brother, I appreciate you. I'm glad that we made it through most of this without getting cut off. And looking forward to connecting again.
All right. Well, thank you. Cheers, everybody. We'll do this again. Probably, I don't know, maybe we'll start doing this a regular thing every month or two.
Yeah, brother. I'm down to meet up next month. I think there's you know, especially with the way the market's going, for sure.
All right. Well, thank you, Jordan. Cheers, brother. Bye, guys.